just saw Maverick Vinales there shaking his head a little. He's got to try and take himself away from this map right now and pray that there's nothing wrong, but there seems to be quite a bit of panic going on here. They're a little bit worried, aren't they, about what's perhaps... I mean, it could be something just so simple. It could be just something leaking and it's not a problem at all, but because of what's happened and the most recent history, there will be some concern, and how can it not get in your head?
Yeah, this will be particularly off-putting, won't it, at this stage? Maverick Vinales has got to trust his mechanics and block it all out. Love that shot of the overhead helicopter in Misano. Even that's yellow in this part of the world, isn't it?
Here is Alex Rins then, fighting from 7th position. Now it's going to be key that they use that starting device to good effect here. Both Rins and Joan Mir starting 7th and 8th. Up ahead of them, they've got the 2 Pramac Ducatis. Now it looks like the fairing's back on that Monster Energy Yamaha. Fingers crossed that there's no problems with that. Here is Pecco Bagnaia then. The big question mark for him, we know he's got the speed. He was very quick in warm-up this morning, by the way, as well. Is what happens over 27 laps. That's the key.
Yeah, he's done nothing like a long run at all this weekend, as he's tried to conserve a bit of energy, specifically to be as fit as he possibly can for this 27-lap battle. Here's Joan Mir, well, by his own admission, not quite as hot as he was in both Austrian Grand Prix, of course, on course for his first win when that red flag came out with Maverick Vinales' pretty well publicised front brake issues. Mir 4th in the restart, having not had a new front tyre to go with in the second leg. He's in 8th place, pretty confident and optimistic in terms of his race rhythm. Not really had the pace of the Yamahas in time attack mode this weekend, but Mir always puts on a show on Sundays, doesn't he?
Riviera de Rimini, so many seaside resorts around here, with the towns of Riccione and Cattolica as well, where most of the paddock is staying. It's just 10-15 minute drive in from here. So popular with tourists.
Yeah, there's been some beautiful early autumn weather down in this part of the world. Looks like we're well set as well for another scorcher next weekend, so the weather gods have been smiling on us so far on the Adriatic coast. Now, is everything okay? All dandy down in Yamaha for Maverick Vinales. Doesn't look like anybody's panicking too much.
Now on the second row of the grid then are the 2 Pramac Ducati riders, Jack Miller and Pecco Bagnaia. Can they upset Yamaha's rhythm here today? Let's find out a bit more information. Francesco Guidotti's been good enough to spend some time with Simon on the grid.
Yeah, we're actually hoping to get a quick word with Jack if he comes back from the bathroom soon enough. Meantime, let's check with Francesco. Tell us, what do you think that it's possible for your guys to do on the Ducatis today, and is Pecco okay race distance wise recovering from that injury?
Yeah, that's the biggest question mark about Pecco is the race distance. After 5 weeks of non-activity, it will be tough for him, especially in this circuit. But I think his feeling is good, and this will give him the right motivation to go ahead.
And Jack's looked really strong, like the whole weekend. What do you think what do you think's realistic?
Difficult to say. The contenders are very strong. There's all the Yamahas, also the 2 Suzukis, and some Ducati will be fighting for the same target. So we'll see. It's as usual, as we get used in the last races. The fight will be tough and long, because 28 laps will be 27. Sorry, will be a lot.
Okay, best of luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks to Francesco Guidotti. Further down the grid, we saw Andrejevic Jose start 9th, ahead of Zarco. Anything in the top 10 for Zarco today would be good. He's really struggling with that wrist a bit here, despite his speed being okay. And then we saw the Aprilias of Pol Espargaro and Miguel Oliveira.
And also a quick glimpse of Taka Nakagami, who was way down the grid in 14th place. The Honda struggling on the aggressive bumps around this newly resurfaced Misano track, but Nakagami was quickest in this morning session for warm-up. There's Aleix Espargaro. He's going from 13th place. Can Aprilia beat their previous best here, a 10th for Alvaro Bautista in 2016? Simon, back to you on the grid. No, sorry, I thought Simon was trying to come back in. There is Jack Millen.
Yeah, let's go down to Simon. He's got Maio Meregali. Let's find out. Well, surely Meregali's hoping that all 3 will be on the podium here today. Is it as easy as that? Down to Simon on the grid.
Mayo, I want to know if you feel the same as me. There's a chance that we'll see Valentino being on the podium today, or better, and give us your thoughts on both your riders, and also about the little problem Maverick had coming to the line.
First of all, we really got a bit of panic because when the Maverick arrived we saw some smoke, but anyway it was nothing, just some lubricant that we spray in the garage. And anyway, you make me some difficult question to answer because you know, you can't predict anything, especially in the race day. But we have, I think, all the cards to play with for a good result, and I think Valentino most likely changed the tire, the rear tire choice on the grid.
We heard he just went to medium.
Well, you will see by yourself later. And Maverick stick on his decision. I think Maverick has quite confidence on what he choose, and it's really important for him to have a really good start. And then maybe he can try to manage the first few laps. But then the race will be long, and I think who will be able to manage the tire until the end will have a big probability to win the race.
Thank you, Mayo.
You're welcome.
Wow, well there you go, Matt. A last-minute tyre decision change for Valentino Rossi on the grid. He's not the type of rider that tends to do that often.
No, good news for Vinales. Panic over for him with that smoke pouring out of that Yamaha as he came to the grid. Now that is really interesting because the provisional tyre sheet released by Michelin a few moments ago said that the only two riders on the grid that were going for the hard rear tyre were the Monster Energy Yamaha men, Maverick Vinales and Valentino Rossi, which means if Rossi's dropped down to the medium, Vinales left field a bit there. He'll be the only man, I think, at this stage that's plumping for that hard rear tyre. Now, how much of a gamble is that for Vinales? He obviously thinks that's the best option over the longer distance. How long will it take to come in at the start of the race? 2 or 3 laps. Michelin was saying that potentially would need to get up to optimum working temperature, but yeah, Vinales out on a limb a little bit there.
Interesting, won't it? Really interesting. Here is your Brno race winner from earlier on this season, struggling again on a Saturday afternoon, Brad Binder, 16th on the grid, but he fires up on a Sunday. Expect him to be hard charging on the opening few laps. Here comes Fabio Quartararo onto the grid, then it's such a big day for him and Franco Morbidelli and the Petronas Yamaha SRT team. What are the thoughts then of Wilco Zeelenberg? Can both of his men be on the top 2 steps here today? Down to Simon.
Yeah, Fabio has the most gorgeous Dutch umbrella lady in the name of Wilco Zeelenberg, and he's just handing over that job. Wilco, I think today is one of the best opportunities for having 2 of your machines on the podium, and I want to know what you feel about that. Is it possible?
Yeah, you're right. I think both have a good pace, but of course it's always racing, but I have never seen them so consistent so fast. Of course we have been before on the first row with both boys, and it always ends up in tears, and I hope this time we can change that.
And is there a few last-minute tyre changes, or your guys are confident with what they have? I know it's been difficult to choose.
Yeah, no, we're quite confident. Of course, there's a little bit more wind, and that also influence the tire temperature and the behavior of the tires, but it didn't change our mind.
Best of luck, Wilco.
Thank you.
Thanks, Simon. Thanks, Wilco. Yeah, has that slight increase in the wind influenced Rossi's decision? Will it perhaps not be cooling that hard rear tyre too much? Morbidelli and Quartararo, they're going identical choices, or they came to the grid with identical choices, that's for sure. Hard front tyres, medium rear tyres for the 2 Petronas SRT boys.
Franco Morbidelli with that great message on his helmet. He explained beautifully yesterday what that was all about in these times, a message of equality, and I think everybody fully respected him in this. It was a fantastic 2 minutes from the man in the press room yesterday.
Whenever he retires, there's a career in politics and public speaking beckoning for Franco Morbidelli, that's for sure. Quite a nice, pleasant, gorgeous afternoon out on the boat.
Yeah, it's Nick Harris enjoying himself there out by the seaside.
Yeah, just pouring himself another glass of champers. Yeah, beautiful day to be out on a boat on the Adriatic coast. and we can find out exactly about the latest tyre information. It looks like there are going to be 5 of the 6 slick tyres chosen for this 27-lap Misano Grand Prix. Let's find out exactly what's going on the grid, because Michelin Motorsport manager Piero Taramasso is with Simon.
Piero, regarding tyre choice, it's a bit more exciting than usual. Can you give us an idea what's happening? We've seen a couple of changes, Valentino one of them.
Yes, we had a couple of changes of the last minutes. Valentino he changed because he want to ride with the rear hard, and then he changed to the medium. So at this moment only Maverick is with the rear hard. Then you have the Valentino, then Petronas, KTM with the rear medium, and then you have all the Ducati and the Honda with the rear soft.
And front-wise, is there a bit of a mix there as well?
Yeah, front-wise a little bit of mix, mainly is hard front, because here in Misano you brake a lot, a long time, and also the front tire it doesn't rest too much, you cannot cool down the front, so most of them they are with the hard. With the medium you have, I think, Valentino, Maverick, Mir, another rider, that's it. All the rest is with the front hard. Again, they have just to be careful on the left for the first lap, and then will be okay for all the race.
Thank you, Piero.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Simon. Thanks for that bang up-to-date information as well from Piero Taramasso from Michelin. So Maverick Viñales will take a punt. He's the only man that will start this Misano Grand Prix on that Michelin hard rear tyre.
You can see the breeze picking up there. Look at the umbrella there just above German rider Stefan Bradl. Most peculiar because it's boiling hot here, just under 30 degrees. You can kind of see, can't you, with that breeze, why Rossi's decided to go for the medium rear. Here's Bradley Smith then. Great memories 5 years ago here in Misano, in slightly different weather conditions, I think it's fair to say, as he was on the podium. That was his last MotoGP podium. Actually had a pretty solid weekend pace-wise as Bradley Smith, so could be on for some points today.
Yeah, and running a few experimental parts as well for Aprilia as they try and bridge the gap to the front in the MotoGP World Championship, their crucial home Grand Prix, of course. Tough, humbling weekend so far for the Moto2 World Champion, unfortunately. The Honda just has not worked at all over the aggressive bumps on this new Misano circuit. Makes the bike unpredictable and very nervous for Alex Marquez, who's trying to build up some confidence as a rookie as well. He finds himself at the back of the grid on the Repsol Honda. It's been an instantly forgettable weekend for HRC, a pretty forgettable 2020 so far, hasn't it, as the Petronas Yamaha SRT boys doing everything they can to keep their man Quartararo cool. They've got the fan down the back of the neck. It's pretty hot down there on the grid.
Nice. Damage limitation day potentially for Ducati. Danilo Petrucci looked like he's having a good Friday, but yesterday it went wrong. He's 15th, but more importantly, Dovi second in the World Championship from 9th. What's the best they can hope for here today? On the grid is Simon with Davide Tardozzi.
Yeah, same idea, Steve. Davide, what are you hoping your riders, especially Dovi, can rescue today?
I think that the choice we make with the soft on the back, I think that is a bit risky. The first row is for sure in hard or medium tire, so we see if the range of the temperature that this tire range, it will be good for us. This morning was not so bad. He found a good feeling after having trouble on Friday and Saturday, but I guess that we have our chance.
Thank you, Davide.
Yep.
Okay, so Dovi going for the soft, trying to get himself in the mix early on and hoping that there's no drop. There haven't really been any major signs of drop, although Ducatis have struggled a bit more than anyone else in terms of that so far this weekend. Here is your front row then. Never before in MotoGP history has there been 4 Yamahas on the top 4 spaces, and as you can see there, and as we've just been speaking about, the only rider to go for the hard rear is Maverick Viñales. He's gone for the medium front tyre as well. Will that play a big part in today's race? The World Championship leader, Fabio Quartararo here, many people's favourite, 3rd on the grid. Morbidelli looking for podium number 2, but could it be win number 1 in MotoGP for the cool and calm Italian with the Brazilian roots? And on pole position, Maverick Viñales, not won since Sepang last year, and if he wants to fight for this World Championship, it needs to come today from pole position. We are ready for action here in MotoGP for the Grand Prix of Misano.
It's time for a MotoGP melee in Misano. For the first time in the modern era, 4 Yamahas lock out the top 4 on the grid, although the Iwata factory winless here in Misano since Valentino Rossi's success 6 years ago in 2014. Vinales, Morbidelli and Quartararo, that is your front row. Interesting though, Maverick Vinales, the only man in the field that is starting with the Michelin yellow-banded hard rear tyre. Is that a gamble that's going to pay off? A late switch for Rossi in 4th place. He tries to make it 200 Premier class podiums. Keep an eye on the 2 Pramac Ducatis, Miller and Bagnaia going from row 2 as well. The 2 Suzukis as well, they pose a threat from row 3 in the hands of Rins and Joan Mir, and you can never discount Undaunted Dovi as he goes with that soft rear tyre from the back of the 3rd row.
Interestingly, 3rd on the grid here for El Diablo. He has that inside line going into turn 1. They will all initiate the launch control systems, those ride height adjusters, and they're all on exactly the same machinery. So who will get to turn 1 first? Jack Miller will be hoping that
somebody stalled
launch...
it. Somebody stalled it. One of the Red Bull KTM Tech 3 bikes has been stalled, and that means it's going to be a pit lane start. Was that Ika Lecuona?
Sure, I can't see for the moment. I think you're right. I think it is Ika Lecuona. Who will master Misano? Will it be any of these guys? 3 of those on the screen winners so far. Can the man on the far left from pole get it going? There is Ika Lecuona. It looks like he's finally got that machine going, having not got it off the line. Just under the 10,000 then here at Misano. Great to see fans back again.
Yeah, and after Rossi's session topping performance in FP3 yesterday, you could have sold 99,970 seats. There he is then. Can he take that landmark 200th career podium in the Premier class? 199 he sits on. What a place it would be to go into the double century in home soil here in Misano.
Yamaha had such a good day here last year and almost won it with this man, Fabio Quartararo, but there's no Marc Marquez here today. Will they take all top 4 spots? Quartararo hopes so. He's got a 3-point lead over Dovizioso, Miller and Binder following as well.
First laps are going to be critical as always for Maverick Vinales. He's got to get a great start and then he's got to try and really push hard to get some decent temperature into that hard rear tyre.
Well, he's maintained all weekend. It's just about enjoying the race here today, but surely it's got to be so much more than that. There's bragging rights going on here at Yamaha today. The circuit winners here, despite Yamaha's great pole position record. There you can see it with your own eyes. Marquez won twice, and of course, Dovi as well.
Can they capitalise on that history-making qualifying yesterday, locking out the top 4? Lynn Jarvis with the sunglasses and the mask. He still looks quite tense and pensive, doesn't he? The Yamaha managing director.
Maverick Vinales ready. Green flag waving. We are ready to go here in Misano. Lights out and away we go. Not a good start from Maverick Vinales at all. Franco Morbidelli got away really well. Fabio Quartararo gets swallowed and through comes Jack Miller as well. It will be Morbidelli that leads from Rossi.
Vinales got caught napping off the line, as did Fabio Quartararo. Disastrous start from the front row for the Frenchman. So it's Morbidelli and Rossi, an Italian 1-2 in Misano MotoGP.
Well, this is exactly the start that Valentino wanted. Immediately a defensive line there from Maverick Vinales. The 2 Suzukis had a good start. They've made up a couple of places. They're just behind Fabio Quartararo.
And Quartararo not where he wanted to be at all, because he's now got the hard work to get through on Jack Miller's Ducati. Jack Miller said he might try and play around with some of the Yamahas. He's got 3 ahead of him.
Rossi's through. He's through side by side. He's got that tight line up the inside, though. It's going to be close, this one. And he closes the door. Does Franco Morbidelli on the boss?
Slams the door shut in Rossi's face then. Miller can't find a way through as yet on Jack Miller.
He's going for it now, though. He's got that inside line. Whoa, he sits him up.
Miller through on Jack Miller. I meant Miller through on Maverick. Great move that. Alex Rins has had a good start. He's now already on the coattails of Fabio Quartararo. It'll be Morbidelli though that leads his home Grand Prix through Cavone for the first time. Big head shakes for both the Yamahas.
Blimey. Chief teeth chattering. I think we both need our teeth putting back in here. Right, here comes Franco Morbidelli. He leads from Valentino Rossi, Jack Miller, then it's Maverick Vinales, and Fabio Quartararo is desperate to try and find a way past Maverick. This is not the start the number 12 wanted from pole position.
Got a poor launch off the line, didn't they, both Vinales and Quartararo, the exact opposite to the starts that Morbidelli and Rossi both made.
On the exit there at turn 16, Morbidelli struggled a bit, but he will just about hold on to that lead because it's such a short start-finish straight. There is Johan Zarco, he's in 10th, just behind Dobby, so Dobby's not made any ground at all, he stays in 9th. Rossi's eager here, he's really keen to get through on Franco Morbidelli.
Yeah, no major impression being made right now by Fabio Quartararo. Stuck in that 5th place, he's a couple of tenths now behind Maverick Vinales in 4th spot. And Morbidelli and Rossi are starting to make a bit of a break ahead of Jack Miller in 3rd place on the Pramac Ducati. Rossi had a look at turn 8 on the last lap, he's going for it again, up the inside of Morbidelli. Morbidelli just leaves his braking that little bit later to outbrake Rossi and Mazzano at turn 8. You're going some. Credit to Franco Morbidelli there.
Yeah, great drive, Rossi gets out of turn 6. Through we go then into turn number 10. There's Quartararo trying to find a way through on Vinales, but also trying to keep Alex Rins at bay.
Yeah, the two Suzukis are starting to look seriously threatening, aren't they? Rins 6th place, Mir in 7th.
Terrible start for Miguel Oliveira. He lost 5 places. The Styrian Grand Prix race winner. He's back in 15th place.
Yeah, Binder started 16th. He's still in 16th place at the moment. Thought Rins was going to fire it up the inside of Quartararo into turn 14. No way through. Looks like Quartararo and the two Suzukis at the moment are just a little bit mired behind Maverick at the moment. Vinales is still waiting probably for that hard rear tyre to properly come in.
Second lap of the race then completed. The two men on the front row there struggling in these early stages. Morbidelli from Rossi and Miller. Small gap back to then Vinales. There is the Suzuki of Joan Mir. He's got a bit of space between himself and Pecco Bagnaia back in 8th place.
Yeah, and Bagnaia's got about 3 tenths of a cushion over Andrea Dovizioso, who's coming under threat there at the top of your pitch from Johan Zarco. Was Zarco going through on Dovizioso into turn number 4? Didn't quite make it through, did he? Dovizioso defending well.
Now Rossi gets that great drive from turn 6. Can he challenge once more?
That was a great shot there of Jack Miller using that Ducati ride height device to get that lower that rear end and get the drive grip coming out of turn 6. What a great shot that was. You could see that Ducati sitting down that rear tyre brilliantly.
Fastest lap of the race, Franco Morbidelli. He led, of course.
I think Quartararo might just be attacking Maverick Vinales there. It was getting very, very close. Couldn't find a way through, but Quartararo definitely showed Vinales his front wheel into turn 9.
Here come the top 3, and here come Maverick and Fabio. Fabio is looking for a move. Will it come at turn 14? Both at the front ends wobbling around, although the Yamaha copes with the bumps better than most. Surely Fabio Quartararo's going to have a look. No, he's not quite close enough this time into 14.
Yeah, he's really pulling the pressure on Vinales now, isn't he? They can just see Morbidelli and Rossi eking away at the front. Morbidelli a 1:33.337 last time around. That's just about keeping the boss at bay.
On board with the doctor there as we come across the line. He won't have a go into turn 1. It won't work, but will he try the cutback? Not close enough.
Vinales gets great grip out of turn 16. Miller's the fastest man on circuit right now at 33.115. He's got almost a second back to Vinales in 4th. Bradley Smith, the Aprilia test rider, unfortunately, he's taken a tumble at turn 14.
Yeah, this is good from Jack Miller. Really good. No one expected this. He's not had the pace all weekend. Now then, out of turn 6 we go. Lord, look at that. Rear end.
Squats down.
Squatting beautifully.
Like a chopper.
Down into turn 6 once more. Still as you were. Morbidelli, who hasn't led a race now since Brno, of course, where he went on to finish 2nd after Binder came through the field.
And what we've shown in recent history, what we've learned in recent history, is that sometimes both Morbidelli and Rossi, they overwork their tyres more than Vinales and Quartararo. So how will that work out as we get into the business end of this race? Now then, Quartararo again trying to show Vinales a front tyre at Cavoni. That would have been brave.
Oh,
Vinales is well wide there,
really
through
wide.
Turn 11.
So you've got to watch that. You've got to watch that track limits. Speaking of penalties, etc., it just came up on our screen that Iker Lecuona's got to take a long lap penalty.
Joan Mir at the moment just cannot go with his teammate Alex Rins. Not a lot of difference between the two of them in terms of lap times, but Rins is opening up an advantage of 7 tenths. He's taken a big chunk of time out of Mir on this lap, about 4 tenths. So Mir just struggling to run the pace at this stage.
Franco Morbidelli.
Was that Rins going for Quartararo in the background there? Sorry, Steve, I'm not. I think Rins might have been actually looking at a move up the inside of Fabio Quartararo. No, again, a lot of riders showing front wheels here, but not quite able to make the passes stick.
He was the fastest man on that last lap, Alex Rins, 32.9. Grid procedure infraction. You were right there, Matt. Absolutely spot on because
if you
of the stalling.
if you stall it, you're supposed to wheel the bike off the grid and start from pit lane.
So long lap penalty for Iker Lecuona. So far so good then for Franco Morbidelli, but he's got company, and Miller's closed that gap down a bit as well, the Private Ducati rider in third.
And there's just 3 or 4 bike lengths of a gap appearing now between Vinales and Quartararo. That hard rear tyre now will be in and working nicely. It'll be up to working temperature now for Maverick Vinales. So now, what has he got in terms of rhythm to start moving his way forwards and perhaps piling pressure then on Miller, Rossi and Morbidelli ahead of him? Because at the moment he's dealing with Quartararo relatively comfortably.
On board with Valentino Rossi then, his protege that he brought through the ranks at the academy. Franco Morbidelli sits ahead of him. Morbidelli's had +0 Rossi on his pit board since the start of this one. There is Alex Rins then, fastest man on circuit, trying to hunt down Quartararo.
And it's been a great demonstration. How many times have we heard this weekend, particularly Davide Brivio, say how difficult it is to overtake around this tight, twisty, technical Misano circuit? Rins has been much quicker than Fabio Quartararo these last 2 or 3 laps, but he just can't find a way through to make the move clean.
Just behind Joan Mir now, there's some air. Bagnaia struggling to maintain this pace. It's only going to get a bit harder for Bagnaia as well, and Dovi, 9th, is about the best it's looking at the moment. He might be able to pick off Bagnaia at some point.
There's Rossi then rolling back the ears into turn 4, keeping that gap down to under a couple of tenths to Franco Morbidelli. These two are so close. When there's any off-road event at the VR46 ranch in Pavaglia, these two always pair up together.
I'll say this, as we look at Taka Nakagami leading Honda in 11th, if Miller finishes on the podium here today, it's one of the rides of the day. You're expected to see the Yamahas and the Suzukis going well here. They've been smooth all weekend, but Ducatis just haven't had the speed. Miller's doing a grand job in the early stages.
Absolutely awesome. That's why Ducati have picked him to be in the factory team next year, and it was key about the start. He pounced on the sluggish starts for Quartararo and Vinales. This is further back down the field. The battle raging between the Espargaro brothers. Pole 12th, Aleix in 13th, then it's Petrucci behind them. Miguel Oliveira and Brad Binder, they're certainly not going to be repeating their winning heroics of Brno and Spielberg too.
Yeah, this is a bit of a bounce back down to earth for KTM here this weekend, isn't it? Not been their fighting selves, although arguably Pol Espargaro is much better than 12th place, but those 2 crashes yesterday were big mistakes. Here we are on board with Franco Morbidelli. He's got a couple of tenths now. He's just put in his fastest lap of the race, Morbidelli, but doesn't look like that on screen.
I'm tipping my cap to Pecco Bagnaia because he's got incredible rhythm at the moment. Fastest rider on this circuit right now is Pecco Bagnaia. He's just on a 1:33.072, about 2 tenths quicker than Rossi in 2nd place. Outstanding job. Dovizioso and Zarco just cannot get close enough to barge Bagnaia.
There are the Suzukis then of Rins and Mir, both trying to bunch up and get themselves in the mix for a surprise podium. At the front there's no change. Rossi's trying to apply pressure to Franco Morbidelli, but so far there's no mistake coming from the former Moto2 world champion, and Miller is there ready to pick up the pieces as well if should it all go wrong. Still nothing really coming from Vinales or Quartararo at the moment.
It's been as you were, isn't it, now in this top 7 for quite some time. There's been a few near misses, or a few near passes I should say, and they've not really been able to be pulled off successfully. So it's been as you were, holding stage for quite a few laps now, this lead group of 7.
There's Morbidelli just exceeding track limits slightly there. Razlan Razali looking on. He probably, oh, there goes the move then for Fabio Quartararo.
Properly nerfed him out of the way, picked him up big style there, didn't he?
He has the inside line for the next left-hander at turn 15 as well, so there is a change for 4th place. Fabio Quartararo then, what can he now do about that gap to Jack Miller, which has gone up to half a second?
Yeah, a change that will chafe for Maverick Vinales, his future teammate coming on through. And of course, Maverick Vinales really needs to finish ahead of Fabio Quartararo to reignite his championship charge after a disastrous Brno.
Bagnaia, fastest lap of the race.
Incredible. His pace is astonishing right now. He is way quicker. He's the first man in the 32s. Half a second quicker he was of Joan Mir ahead of him.
Yeah, he's catching. Oh, no! He's gone down!
Quartararo's bailed out.
The World Championship leader is down at turn 4.
Can you believe it? Quartararo had just made the move on the inside of Maverick Vinales at turn 14 on the previous lap, and at turn 4, Fabio fluffs it.
Unbelievable. Who is writing the 2020 MotoGP script?
Andrea Dovizioso's 9th. He could be leading the World Championship at the end of this race. That is astonishing. A very uncharacteristic mistake then by Fabio Quartararo on the deck at turn number 4. His victory hope's gone, his podium hope's gone, potentially his point scoring hopes have gone.
Well, look what it's done as well to the gap.
Can you believe this? Andrea Dovizioso, we just said it, the guy's not even in the top 6 and he could be leaving his home Grand Prix Misano as the World Championship leader. Well, astonishing. Well, and Rossi, look at Rossi, he's only 10 points down.
This is incredible, it's incredible. Valentino Rossi, this is on.
You could not make this up. We've said this before, if you pitched this season to a Hollywood scriptwriter, they would laugh you out of the studio. You wouldn't even get a foot through the door.
It's Tarantino stuff, isn't it?
This is unbelievable. So Fabio Quartararo fluffs his lines for the first time really this season.
Bagnaia's charging. It's incredible. Here comes Rins up the inside of Maverick Vinales as well. He's shaking his head, Maverick. This is going from bad to worse for the number 12. And it could get worse still because Mir's right up behind him and Bagnaia is flying. A 32.706 for the injured Italian.
Bagnaia's in a different race to the guys ahead of him. Different race. He's done 32.7. He was 6/10 quicker than Mir ahead of him. What about Vinales? Vinales a 33.8. Bagnaia was 1.1 seconds quicker than Maverick Vinales. That hard rear tyre decision backfiring right now for Maverick.
Around the outside. Pecco Bagnaia around the outside of Joan Mir. No way.
Loving this. Absolutely perfect from Pecco. What a ride this has been. He streaked away from Andrea Dovizioso behind him. It's tight there between Mir and Vinales through turn 10.
Bagnaia's going to make light work of this. He's going to carve through past Joan Mir.
Well, what have we always said? Adrenaline is the best painkiller in the world, and that's what's keeping Pecco Bagnaia going right now. There's still a long way to go. 19 laps to go, but he can sniff the podium already.
In the meantime,
he's wide, a little bit wide there, wasn't he?
Still the same out front, 0.2 of a second between Morbidelli and Rossi. But you're looking here at Pecco Bagnaia, the fastest man on circuit. Well, he certainly was on the last lap. He might not be on this one. Now, Maverick Vinales is a bit shaken here in this race. You do wonder, don't you, if that little drama on the grid at the start affected him somewhat.
Yeah, and probably as well. Fabio Quartararo dumping it right in front of him just unnerved him a little bit as well. That's Mir hot, well way hot. And that's allowed Bagnaia through. Didn't have to work for that pass, did he?
You see, Fabio Quartararo, Matt, the race has not gone the way he had expected it to at all. Plan A was to get out front and bolt. It went wrong from the moment the lights went out.
Interesting, you can see with that clear track ahead of him, Pecco Bagnaia, on the previous lap, he did a 32.7 best of the race. As soon as he's got into this groove, his pace dropped by a full second. Look at that, Ducati squatting again as they engage that rear ride height device. Mir was almost close to tagging Vinales there, wasn't he, in the first corner. You cannot take your eyes off this one, folks. Back at the front, and it's still Morbidelli from Rossi with Jack Miller in a strong third place still. Those three now have got quite a big buffer back to Alex Rins. 1.8 seconds is Miller's advantage over the Spaniard.
Don't forget what Alex Rins said yesterday. The only man I fear is Fabio Quartararo, who's now out of the race, and this is gone straight through like he was standing still, and Maverick Vinales from pole has dropped to 6th.
Can you believe Fabio Quartararo, having dominated the first two races in Jerez and Andalusia? We thought he was going to steamroller towards the World Championship with Marc Marquez sidelined. He's not going to have a top 6 since those two maximum 50-point haul at the start of the season. Who would have thought that was going to happen?
It is just astonishing. What I can tell you is we are going to have another new race winner. I mean, look at the names in the top. We're going to have another new race winner in MotoGP for 2020, whatever happens here.
This has been incredible. Alex Rins has got into a serious groove now. He's also, like Bagnaia, able to dip into those 32s. 32.851. Yeah, Alex Rins was a mile quicker than the 3 men ahead of him. A mile quicker, half a second faster than Morbidelli, half a second quicker than Rossi, and 6/10 faster than Miller.
Out of turn 6 we go. Morbidelli from Rossi. Jack Miller in third. Jack Miller, by the way, this does him so many favours in the World Championship. I think he'd just be a handful of points back down on Dovi himself. Was there a bit of a mistake from Valentino Rossi there? He just lost half a tenth maybe into turn 8. Here is Fabio Quartararo, who has rejoined and is in the low 133, so there could still be points on, well, I don't know, he's 15 seconds down on Stefan Bradl right now, but he will be so upset. Let's get a replay of the crash from Quartararo. He just dismissed Maverick Vinales. The bike had never settled there. It was slightly in wide as well.
It was very nervous, very twitchy, wasn't it? Look at that head in hands. Wilco Zeelenberg, Johan Stigefeld, Razlan Razali, they cannot believe it. Well, this is the World Championship lead surrendered.
That's his first crash in a while.
Yeah, well, he was taken out, wasn't he, by Petrucci on the first lap in Phillip Island. I can't remember the last time he bailed out of his own accord in a race.
Maybe Sachsenring last year.
Yeah, it's definitely one for the scrapbook. Oh, Jack Miller's had a track limits warning, so he's got to be careful. A couple more indiscretions like that, and Miller's going to have to come through the long lap, and that would really put him in trouble.
Morbidelli started to break away.
He's looking good, isn't he?
He's looking fantastic, Franco Morbidelli.
Put himself in this position, didn't he, in Brno, and then Brad Binder reeled him in. Just ran out a rear tyre, did Franco Morbidelli, so I'll be hoping that lightning doesn't strike twice. Can anybody do a Binder on Morbidelli this time around? At the moment, he's got Rossi and Miller pretty comfortably covered.
Jack Miller then, at the moment, holding on to third place. He just put in his fastest lap of the race as well.
Yeah, and behind him, he needs to do that because Alex Rins yet again fired on another 132.8. That's back-to-back 132.8s from the Suzuki man.
Yeah, Rossi's not able to just get his claws into Morbidelli just yet, but we're only 11 laps gone. There's still 16 to go. A lot could still change, and there's so many different combinations of tyre out there. We don't know who might prevail in that battle as well. It's up to 8/10 now for Franco Morbidelli. He's in a world of his own.
And you talk about the highs and lows of Grand Prix racing. I mean, let's not forget Red Bull Ring 1, what happened to Franco Morbidelli and Valentino Rossi. This would be so sweet to see the pair of them first and second in their home Grand Prix. They're great friends off the circuit. Almost as close as brothers, aren't they, this pair? And when you think of all the trauma that they went through after that horrible incident at turn 3 in Austria, this would be such a great result for the pair of them.
Well, he'd certainly deserve it, Morbidelli out front, and the reason I say that is because the 2 times he's been out of races have not been his fault.
No.
And one of them, he was well positioned to possibly get 20-odd points.
And we're staring history in the face as well, because Valentino Rossi, at the moment, is well on course to be taking that 200th podium, although that's not a given because Miller, Rins, and in particular Rins and Bagnaia, they've got great rhythm at this stage, and we're still not even at half race distance.
No, Alex Rins here right now looks like he's heading for P3, and he might just think at this stage, with so long to go, that he's got a good chance of still winning this race. He's half a second quicker than Jack Miller. We're riding with the Suzuki man now.
Vinales is just absolutely nowhere. His pace has dropped off a cliff. He's doing and struggling to do mid-33s. Alex Rins and Pecco Bagnaia are doing high 132s for fun. It's been another very humbling afternoon so far for Maverick Vinales.
Well, it just happens too often on a Sunday, I'm afraid. It does seem that track conditions change after Moto3 and Moto2 races have been on, but he seems to suffer way more than most.
Isn't it funny how it works as well, Stephen? We were lavishing praise on Yamaha for locking out that top 4, but of those 4 men, the 2 least likely candidates that you thought to be the first and second were Rossi and Morbidelli.
Wow, I mean,
everybody thought it was going to be, well, it was going to be Vinales and Quartararo.
Yeah, exactly. If you'd have asked me to put a bet on this morning, I'd have lost my house a number of times over. This is fascinating. Now, Rins needs to dispatch of Miller quickly, and he's going for it. That was lovely. And now Pecco Bagnaia is closing on his teammate as well.
And Rins is now going to start posing a real serious problem. This is going to be fascinating with clear track ahead of him. How quickly can Alex Rins reel in Rossi and Morbidelli. Pecco Bagnaia thought of having a look up the inside of Jack Miller into turn 4, which has proven so costly for Fabio Quartararo today, losing the World Championship lead after that costly early crash. Now then, look how quickly Rins has gapped Miller behind him.
Is Miller just starting to find it hard going tyre-wise as he sees his teammate go through.
There's not a lot wrong with Pecco Bagnaia.
He's having a big look over his shoulder there, Jack Miller. I think he's got a bit of trouble.
Yeah, Pecco Bagnaia, what a performance this has been. He was the top Ducati, wasn't he, in that Andalusian Grand Prix when that cruel mechanical problem denied him a stonewall second place. And here he is now charging towards what would be his first podium finish in MotoGP.
Well, I'll tell you what, if he manages to get past Alex Rins, there'll be some VR46 Academy party tonight.
Yeah, Tavuglia will be rocking, I think it's fair to say.
So then, we are at the halfway point of this MotoGP race in Misano.
First time, Steve, that Franco Morbidelli stretched his lead over Rossi to over a second. At the moment, Rossi has got nothing for Morbidelli ahead of him, and Rossi's got bigger problems as well, coming in the shape of Rins and Bagnaia.
There is Rins, there is Bagnaia. Bagnaia, that last lap, pretty much identical time to Alex Rins. Fastest rider, actually, was Joan Mir, number 36, at 33 flat. That's quicker than the race leader, Franco Morbidelli. There is the number 36, just behind Jack Miller.
Yeah, and that lap time mullered Miller because he was 1.4 seconds ahead of the Aussie, or clear of the Aussie on that lap, so he's going to be reeling in Jack pretty quickly.
Remarkably, Andrea Dovizioso's lapping just as quick as the guys out front as well now, in 8th place. And Nakagami's found some speed. He's up into 9th, and he's lapping quicker than most.
Well, Dovizioso is playing his get-out-of-jail-free card big style today because he's not in the top 6 at the moment, yet he's still going to be potentially leading the MotoGP World Championship. How many more twists and turns are we going to get in the road before we get to Portimao in November?
I've got a feeling there's a few more to come in this race as yet.
Yeah, we've still got 13 laps to go. Look how quickly Rins and Bagnaia have dispensed with the challenge of Jack Miller, who's now got his hands full keeping Mir at bay.
I mean, just nobody can keep any consistency in MotoGP in 2020 at all. So far, after 5 races, nobody has got more than 2 podiums this season. And that might be set to continue after this. There's Lynn Jarvis.
And after everything that's gone on for KTM over the last few weeks, where they've had such outstanding success, real stars of the show in many respects in 2020, they have not got a bike at the moment inside the top 10 as Franco Morbidelli gets the hammer down. What a lap time that is from the race leader. A 1:32.748. It's a personal best lap from the Italian. That's broken Rossi. That has broken Valentino Rossi because Morbidelli was half a second quicker than the 41-year-old behind him, and now Rossi can forget about the victory. It's all about keeping Rins and Bagnaia behind him.
Yeah, he's got some work on, hasn't he, to try and hold on to this podium, because there's some good speed going on further behind. Fastest laps of the race for Dovi and Nakagami. They were both quicker than Rossi, Rins and Bagnaia last time around. Here is Johan Zarco. He's still fighting injury as well, but he's in 10th place right now. Look at this big group of KTMs. 11th, 12th and 13th.
Yeah, Fabio Quartararo is still out there at the back of the pack in 20th, the number 20. He's just on a 1:33.251, so there's nothing wrong with his rhythm at the moment. Maverick Vinales just cannot get under the mid-1:33s.
Well, Rins is closing on Rossi, but look who's closing on Rins.
It's going to get worse as well in a minute for Maverick Vinales, because Andrea Dovizioso's swallowing him up. Dovizioso on that last lap was half a second faster than Vinales.
How is it possible? How can you be so fast all weekend, destroy the lap record, start from pole, and at this stage of the race be in 7th place?
Well, there are going to be questions asked, aren't there, about his rear tyre choice. He was the only man to go for that hard rear tyre. It was what he loved and what he'd been so fast and strong on all weekend, but with this win, maybe slightly cooling the temperatures down. Was that the big impact? Now then, Joan Mir, Alex Rins was able to find a way through on Jack Miller quite quickly. Look at the corner speed. The Suzuki's got much better corner speed, much better edge grip as well. Mir, it's not a case of if but when he makes this move.
Yeah, well, it's just the turning ability of that Suzuki in comparison to the Ducati as well. Onto the back straight we go. This is the battle for 5th and 6th.
Yeah, last time around, Rins and Bagnaia quite a bit quicker than Rossi. Ahead of them, Mia, out of the seat.
Bit eager there on the power, wasn't he?
Steady on, Juan. Don't want to throw away what looks like being at least a 6th place.
The trouble is, Matt, at this moment in MotoGP, every single point is so precious.
Unbelievable. I mean, Alex Rins at the moment on that last lap was 4/10 quicker than Rossi. Now, you can forget about Franco Morbidelli right now because he's gone. It's all about his focus and concentration and keeping himself cool because he knows he's creeping ever closer to a breakthrough. Fantastic first victory in MotoGP. Now, Rossi's struggling here, big start. He's being reeled in massively by both Rins and Bagnaia here.
It just seems like a matter of time, doesn't it? For Valentino Rossi, his pace has fallen.
Well, Rossi
dramatically.
started this lap 9/10 clear of Rins. Over the line he comes. What is the gap? It's down to half a second, so Rins again much the quicker man.
Through sector 1 we go. Pecco Bagnaia also trying to upset things, and Mir has got through. Mir's gone through on Jack Miller, so Miller then, having made such a good start, has fallen back to 6th place.
Rossi's pace is not bad at all. In fact, it's brilliant. He's still doing low 133s. It's just behind him. Rins and Bagnaia, they just cannot drop out of the 32s. I don't think Rossi actually has done a 32 all race. He's reeled off lots and lots of low 133s, but the 2 men behind him just that little bit quicker.
Oh, that was lovely from Joan Mir.
That's just a bit of corner speed, a bit of edge grip and a bit of agility as well from the Suzuki coming to the fore.
Here is Valentino Rossi in 2nd. Alex Rins there in 4th on the Suzuki. And then the Ducati of Pecco Bagnaia looking for that first podium in MotoGP, which arguably should have come in Jerez. He was brilliant there as well. We remind you, Pecco Bagnaia is walking around the paddock with a crutch from his broken leg. Doesn't really seem to be affecting him. He did say that he was a little bit concerned about 27 laps. It doesn't look like right now he's worried about that.
If he takes a home podium off Rossi, he might get a whack round the back of the head with that crutch.
Onto the start-finish straight we go. 9 laps to go. And this has been a masterclass from Franco Morbidelli thus far.
Full respect again to Rossi. Once again, a low 133. Absolutely brilliant. But once again, behind him, Bagnaia again was able to fire in a high 132.
But finally, Maverick Vinales, after 18 laps, has put in his fastest lap of the race, and he's into the low 133s. Unfortunately, that's 17 laps too late.
We saw Rossi, didn't we, defend quite brilliantly in Jerez when he took his only podium of the season so far. He's going to have to do a lot of defensive work over these last 9 laps or so.
Interesting, isn't it, that Rins and Bagnaia have both got that soft rear Michelin. Will that last the distance? Can Rossi keep them at bay?
Rossi probably glad, though, that he did drop down to that medium rear tyre compound. Now then,
it's all over for Quartararo.
Yeah, he's in the pits.
It's all over. Well, the championship leader will retire, and he can't believe it.
Can you believe what has happened in MotoGP?
Opportunity lost here at a circuit he had the best pace at all weekend.
Not a top 6 in the last 4 after such a record-breaking start.
Mistake there from Rossi somewhere. He lost a heap of time in that 3rd sector. He lost 4/10 of a second, and now they're on him.
He's really struggling, I think, at the moment. Not struggling, certainly struggling in terms of pace of Rins and Bagnaia. Rossi's got pretty decent rhythm. It's just that those 2 behind him are that little bit quicker. Not a lot in it, but fine margins in MotoGP in 2020.
Trying to keep Rins and Bagnaia behind you for 8 laps is a job like no other.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one, even for a rider of Rossi's stature and standing.
On board now then with Alex Rins on the Suzuki, breaking into turn 4. Be hard to get done there unless you were right alongside, and this is where Rossi's okay. On the exit of turn 6, no problem.
These are points that are priceless for Rossi, Steve, in terms of championship. He will not want to lose this podium.
Here comes Rins. Is he going to have a look up the inside into turn 8? Is he going to outbrake Rossi? Not this time. Is he aware that he's got company in the shape of Pecco Bagnaia as well?
Quartararo has actually come into pits and now he's rejoined the race. Not going to be scoring any points today, though, is the Frenchman. Dismal day for him, dismal day for Maverick Vinales.
This is where Rins seems to be able to make up some time on Valentino Rossi, and here comes Pecco Bagnaia at the inside of Rins. That was brilliant from the Pramac Ducati rider. Is he going to do 2 in 1?
Brave in the extreme by Bagnaia up the inside of Rins at Cavoni. That was bold and brilliant by the Italian. And now, someone's gone down.
Who's down? Oh, we can hear it.
Yeah, definitely heard it.
But who? Who is it? It's Morbidelli.
No, it's Quartararo.
Goodness me, I thought it was Morbidelli.
Do you know what? I thought the same.
Oh,
well, Fabio
Heart in mouth.
Quartararo, it's time to park it and regroup for next weekend, because Fabio Quartararo's had an absolute shocker of a Sunday here in Misano. Second crash of the day.
I apologise to all Franco Morbidelli fans because
Tell you
my
what,
heart was in my mouth there.
You sent my ticker fluttering there, mate.
Sorry.
Blimey. Anyway, Rossi still standing firm despite the immense pressure being piled on by Pecco Bagnaia and Alex Rins. Rins in hot at turn 4 that time around.
Turn 6, he's cruising, isn't he? Practically. And it's going to be cold tyre.
That's just nowhere near enough temperature in the tyres. What a forgettable day for Fabio Quartararo. It's going to be mixed emotions post-race for the Petronas Yamaha SRT team, because on one side it's been a disaster for Quartararo with 2 crashes and losing the championship lead, but on the other side, the flip side of that coin, will be unbridled joy for Franco Morbidelli.
Now here comes Bagnaia. Watch the power from his Ducati. He made light work of Rins last time round, and he's having a look here up the inside of Valentino Rossi, his boss as well. We've got the 2 Academy boys ahead of the boss in the top 3 right now. Will it stay that way though, and can Rossi fight back on Bagnaia? He's not close enough.
The Academy was designed to bring through young talent, not necessarily to beat the boss, but that's exactly what Morbidelli and Bagnaia are doing right now then. So, can Rossi cling on to a home podium, a milestone 200th Premier Class podium, because Alex Rins has still got, 6 laps to go to try and force that issue?
Well, I just did not see this one coming. Incredible stories. Rossi then has got 6 laps now to try and hold on to Rins, who thought about the move into turn 2 there. He wants to make it stick. I just want to point out as well, at this stage, with 6 laps to go, Joan Mir is closing on this group quite rapidly.
And this would be the 4th first-time winner in 6 Grand Prix already this season if Franco Morbidelli gets the job done.
Rins has been told to switch to mapping 3. We'll see whether that has any impact, but already he's having a look here on the brakes at Valentino Rossi. The block pass is coming. Oh my goodness me, that was close.
Oh, I was wincing there. That looked too close for comfort, didn't it?
The one thing you don't want to do is wipe out Valentino Rossi in Misano, not when he's on a podium. If you're going to make the move, make it clear. I mean, he's in through mid-corners. The Suzuki's absolutely all over that Yamaha at the moment.
Yeah, if Alex Rins did that, he's going to need 24-hour security every time he steps onto Italian soil in the future. And what this is doing, this little bit of a scrap unfolding between Rossi and Rins, is just giving Mir a chance to creep back into this battle. Bagnaia, he's got a bit of daylight now between Rossi and Rins. Looks like he's going to have that 2nd place, which should have been his, of course, in Andalusia a few weeks ago.
Further back, Maverick Vinales has just gone through on Jack Miller, so he's made a place up. He's back up into 6th. 5 laps to go now. Morbidelli is clear by 2.9 seconds over Bagnaia. On board with Rins though, who's trying to get through on Rossi. Rossi there knew it was coming. That's a very clever defensive move there from Valentino Rossi.
Yeah, Mir Rins just trying to pick his moment here. Rossi so good on the brakes, makes himself as wide as he possibly can. This is going to be tough going here for Alex Rins. We saw Bagnaia just use the power of the Ducati down the back straight to get up the inside of Rossi. Now then, he's had a look a couple of times, Rins, down the braking zone for turn number 8. He's not going to be close enough to strike this time around.
Rossi, each lap will feel like a million years right now for him.
Andrea Dovizioso may well be picking off Jack Miller before the end of this race. He's a lot quicker than the Australian. That'll be another couple of crucial points going the way of Andrea Dovizioso.
Out of turn 10 we go.
Mir is not out of this at all. Joan Mir still got a genuine crack at the podium here today in Misano. In fact, he was a lot quicker. With that clear track, he's much quicker than Rossi and Rins ahead of him. 4/10 faster than the 2 men
Here he
ahead
comes,
of him.
Rins is having a look, turn 14, he's not close enough again. Although Rossi's slightly wide on exit, they're almost side by side. Rins trying everything.
There's a big screen there as well. Rossi, we've got a right good glare at that big screen and seen the two Suzukis ganging up behind him.
Right then, onto the start-finish straight we go with 4 laps now remaining. So that's another lap gone. Rossi's managed to hold on to this crucial podium spot. Tito Rabat's crashed out. Ryder's absolutely fine. Again, that defensive line from Rossi to not allow Rins through, because he'd probably seen on a screen that that's his strongest point, and now Mir is on them as well.
Rins doing all he can to try and find a way through on Rossi, and now having to do all he can to keep Mir behind him as well.
Well, he might actually be able to do Valentino Rossi a favour in a moment, Joan Mir, because Mir will be thinking, well, I can get on this podium myself.
Tito Rabat, so let's hope that he's perfectly okay. There's your race leader at turn 8 just going through, Franco Morbidelli. What a race he's running at the moment. And Rossi, still, he desperately wants to make it onto the podium here in Misano for the 200th time in the Premier Class. He loved to stand on the podium. How special would it be for Rossi to be on the box with his 2 prodigies, Bagnaia and Morbidelli? We haven't had an all-Italian podium in MotoGP since Silverstone back in 2015, when it was Rossi, Petrucci and Dovizioso.
Here is Rossi then at the moment. Can you imagine if they are able to stay in these positions?
Well, he's coming back towards Pecco Bagnaia now. I mean, I just wonder whether fatigue is starting to creep in for Pecco Bagnaia, because he's thrown everything at this, but he hasn't been able to make a decisive breakaway from Valentino Rossi. And at the moment, Pecco Bagnaia, he's got his hands full now just to keep himself in the top 3.
It's extraordinary, isn't it? I mean, Rossi will be feeling that he could do himself a big favour and buy himself some time if he can find a way back past Pecco Bagnaia. It's so difficult to predict this one. We've got 4 riders fighting now for 2 spots on the podium. Forget Morbidelli. He's 3.1 seconds up the road. I mean, it's a shame for him that we're not able to witness this show that he's put on, because he's been class from the moment that the lights went out.
He said that equality helmet yesterday was all to do with the famous Spike Lee movie, Do the Right Thing. Well, he's done the right thing so far. Franco Morbidelli has not put a foot wrong. Thought Rins again was going to try and fire it up the inside of Valentino Rossi. Rossi so good, so late on the brakes though into turn 8. Rins just cannot get through.
Well, Rossi's now thinking, I want second spot. I need to be getting that spot. I need to buy myself some time. Rins with supreme corner speed through turn 10 on the exit then. Speed of that Ducati, that's the key. It's so difficult to overtake.
Miller's now got a second win to keep Dovizioso behind him as they battle for 7th and 8th.
This year is just so crazy, isn't it? So crazy in MotoGP. You just don't know where to look.
Top Honda again in 9th. Credit to him on what's been a very bumpy and rocky road on this new Misano surface.
I mean, we could still have 2 Suzukis on the podium as yet. Anything's likely to happen. There's 2 laps to go when they cross the line next. Morbidelli's further up the road. And again, through these final sectors, Bagnaia's lead over Rossi shrinks once more. Through we go into turn 1. Will Rins have another look at Valentino Rossi here? No.
So Rins and Mir, they're running out of time here to try and get through on the Italians ahead of them. Bagnaia, what a resolute race he's ridden so far. Absolutely sensational by him on his return from that horrible leg break he suffered on Friday in Brno. And this man has been in a class of his own, Franco Morbidelli.
Yeah, the 25-year-old Roman who was moved over to Tavuglia to work with Valentino Rossi. There's going to be some emotion.
There really is, especially after what happened to him over the last 2 races. Horror show for him in the 2 Austrian Grand Prix after a brilliant first podium in Brno. And what a response this has been from Franco Morbidelli.
Well, given what's happened so far in 2020, you could arguably put his name then in the frame for a championship charge also. 25 points are so precious at this moment. Dovi has gone through on Miller. Dovi's up to 7th place.
Just when we were saying Jack's got Dovi covered, Dovi gets on through, and that's another vital World Championship point now then. We are right down to the business end of this Misano Grand Prix, and again, Alex Rins cannot get through on Rossi. Rossi in turn trying to find a way through on Pecco Bagnaia.
I just want to point something out here. Morbidelli, I hope he's just got this one under control, but he's lost a second in the last lap.
Yeah, I think he's got it under control.
I really
and
hope
Maverick
so.
Vinales has just set his a PB lap what rhythm Vinales has got at this stage of
Oh,
the race.
Mir's gone through on Rins, sorry Matt.
And that could be it.
That could be done. Now then, Rossi, oh Rossi almost went down there on the exit of turn one, I'm sure of it.
Did Mir make a mistake in that final, Rins make a mistake in that final sector?
Morbidelli is dropping pace, hand over fist. This isn't over. Mir could still be on the podium here. He's going to have a proper bite at
Mir's going to have
Valentino
a pop
Rossi.
here. Mir's going to have a pop. It's not a mere formality that Rossi's going to get that 200th podium because it's Mir right behind him. Is he going to be close enough? I don't think he is. Rossi's been awesome on the brakes into turn number 8. No, Mir cannot get close enough. Alex Rins is out of it.
Extraordinary race here in Misano, and it's not over yet for the podium places. You have to believe that turn 14 is where Rossi's now got to...
Here comes Mir!
He's going for it! They're almost touching!
Oh, what a
brave
move!
was that?
What a move! That is a young man in just his second season in MotoGP, up the inside. There was hardly any room to make that move. Bravo, Joan Mir!
Rossi's now going to throw the kitchen sink at it. Surely Rossi's got to have a look at something here. Into turn 14. He's going to go defensive. He's wide though. It's all gone wrong.
Mir ran the super tight line. Is there going to be late heartache here for Valentino Rossi? The podium slips through his fingers. It looks like Frankie can relax. He's going to take his first MotoGP victory, and Mir will take third from Rossi.
Morbidelli comes across the line and he's done it. It's Samba time for Franco Morbidelli, who is finally a MotoGP winner in a bizarre race here in Misano. We have not got a Yamaha 1-2-3. Bagnaia take a bow with a broken leg. He's second.
2020 MotoGP, we love you. What another astonishing show here in Misano. What a last lap that was by Joan Mir. Heartache, gutted, devastated down in the VR46 side of the factory Yamaha garage. He did everything he could. Got to say credit to Joan Mir, because how long did Alex Rins try and make that move on Rossi? Couldn't make it stick. Mir got there, 4 corners later, bang, straight through.
This is just so lovely to see. It's a shame for Rossi that he can't be on that podium
Great
with
scenes.
Franco, but this is fantastic to see. Look at those 3 lads. Well, lads, 2 lads. And the master.
I think Pecco Bagnaia as well as just asked the boss, did you get on the podium, mate? He went, no, I was 4th. Unbelievable.
That move from Mir on the last lap was something pretty special.
I'll tell you what.
It just shows you how well that Suzuki turns.
Rossi will be full respect for that move by Mir. Alex Rins ran out of steam, didn't he, late on? Unbelievable. What a day for Petronas Yamaha SR team and Franco Morbidelli. We're with the team boss, Wilco Zeelenberg.
We are. Wilco, give us a word. I mean, mixed emotions with Fabio, but what a ride from Franco.
Yeah, very mixed emotions. It's always, with teams with 2 good riders. One is doing well, the other one made a mistake, and that's the situation at the moment. But I think, I'm very happy for Frankie. He achieved what he achieved, and of course for Fabio it's a bit of a disaster, but nothing is lost yet. You could see clearly that he had the pace. He kept behind Maverick a little bit too long, and he wanted to catch them quickly, and he had a slide over the front. So, but I'm so happy for Frankie. His home race, you know your home race. You win that one. It's, you go over the moon, and he did it.
Big congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Hashtag Frankie says relax. Yesterday in the press conference, he said, I wanted to deal with the issue of racism in the world. I wanted to hug the 2020 year. Well, the 2020 year has just hugged you back, Franco. He said, I wanted to send an equality message in different languages to remind everyone that we are all the same. Well, the man, the legend, how he spoke yesterday, has now got his hands on a winner's trophy. And look at the MotoGP championship standings. There's 16 points covering 4 riders.
Can somebody explain to me how on earth Andrea Dovizioso, having finished 7th in that race, is now leading the MotoGP World Championship? Quite astonishing.
Morbidelli's win, he's now up to 7th and 19 points away from Dovi.
There are 23 points covering the top 9 riders in this World Championship. I'm so glad that we get to come back here and do it all again in just 7 days' time. Huge congratulations to Franco Morbidelli. Now we've had 4 first-time winners this season for just the 6th time in Premier Class history. Unbelievable scenes. And what about that man, Pecco Bagnaia? We're going to talk very shortly to a jubilant, very, very happy Pramac Ducati team boss, Francesco Guidotti. Simon, over to you again.
Francesco, that's the second time I've seen Pecco ride amazingly, you know. He was on target for Jerez, but today he got it done.
Yeah, he get back exactly where he left in Jerez after that unlucky race. After a serious injury, he get back and he restart from where he left. So it's incredible. His physical condition is not really the best, and in this condition, he did an incredible race.
Big congratulations.
Thank you. Big congratulations to Pecco Bagnaia. I've got some bad news for Francesco Guidotti. I think he might have just lost his rider there. If he doesn't get Pecco Bagnaia the factory deal after that, I'll be astonished. And Joan Mir, wow.
What a great last lap that was by Mir. We just saw there, didn't we? Franco Morbidelli, the 5th different winner in 6 races. That's what happened to Rins. We thought there'd been a mistake from him late on.
Well, look at, he's gone wide there as well. And look at the drive from Joan Mir here.
It cost all of Rins' drive out the final corner. Look how much time he had to make up on Rossi. And then that move at turn 10 on Valentino Rossi in Misano.
This is just
brilliant.
Awesome. What an overtaking move. This is so brave. He's so committed to that. There's no looking back. That could have been a nightmare, but
the kid's got skills and he ain't lacking bravery. They have to do that to Rossi on the last lap.
Fair play. Fair play. And the 314 people chosen to face the race on the wall there will be cheering for Joan Mir, I'm sure.
Well, we're speechless and breathless again here in the commentary box, thankfully.
Well, Mir's now 16 points behind as well. I mean, this is just anyone's.
Well, Alex Rins is...
Marc Marquez is at home thinking, I might still be able to win this.
I reckon I could win the championship the way it's going, mate. Valentino Rossi, he did everything within his power to try and get that home podium and the 200th of his Premier Class career, mugged by Mir on the last lap. Great job by the Spaniard. 4th place then for Valentino Rossi. Yeah, that's how close it was. Oh dear. So close to a dream podium. Can you imagine a podium in Italy, in Misano, 10Ks from their house, featuring Franco Morbidelli with the first win, Pecco Bagnaia with the first podium, and the maestro on the podium with his boys as well. That would have been so emotional. What a great shot that would have been. Hey, let's try again next week, shall we?
4th maiden winner of 2020, the first time that's ever happened in the history of MotoGP, and he can't believe it. Guys, let me tell you, one day the story of Franco Morbidelli, from him being a small boy to getting to this point, will come out, because it is some story. Some of the bitter disappointments and heartache that Franco Morbidelli has gone through is extraordinary, and there will not be a single person in the paddock upset to see this young man on the top step of the podium. And just magnificent.
And what a ride by that young man. Absolutely sensational. A heart full of courage and a heart of gold, Pecco Bagnaia, one of the real likeable characters in this MotoGP World Championship. Can you see where he's going? Get the flag out of his face. Incredible. I was just about to say, Alex Rins is 12th in this World Championship. He's 36 points behind Dovizioso. 36 points are covering the top 12 men in the championship. This is anybody's.
Really is. Really is. 3 different manufacturers in the podium in the Parc Ferme as well.
Great scenes. This will make up for Andalusia, where he was robbed of that podium finish. Here comes the crutch. He's not going to be able to get off that Ducati unaided here. And Franco Morbidelli, soak it up, Frankie, because that was one of the most special moments of your Grand Prix career. Delighted as well for Paolo Campinotti there, boss of Pramac Ducati. He's put his faith in some young Italian talent. There he is.
A quick shout out to Nakagami as well. His pace at the end of the race was extraordinary. He almost got Dovi in the closing stages as well. He finished another top 8.
Great for the mechanics there as well. Stuart Miller and Matt Lloyd. Stewie Miller's been with Franco Morbidelli from Mark VDS in Moto 2. So that are great scenes. What a place to do it as well, in Misano.
He's got fans, of course, here in Italy, around the world, especially in Brazil with his Brazilian roots.
The only thing that would have topped this now for Franco Morbidelli was if Rossi was on the podium with him.
Absolutely.
Absolutely sensational. What another memorable Misano Grand Prix. The tale of 2020 just rolls on and on and on. Marco Bezzecchi comes down. He's still in his leathers from the Moto2 Grand Prix earlier on today. He had to dig really deep, didn't he, for that one, Pecco Bagnaia, and I'm delighted to say it was with some great reward, because he deserved that podium in Jerez earlier on this season. Jack Miller, he had a great start and was inside that top three for such a long time. Yeah, next time, 9th place was not what we thought was going to come Miller's way after that great start. And what a final lap, attacking the Master Rossi in Misano to take the final podium place. We'll be hearing very, very shortly from Joan Mir with Simon Crafar as we look at Franco Morbidelli soak up the scenes of his first ever MotoGP victory, and a warm embrace from his great friend, fellow VR46 Academy man Pecco Bagnaia. Brilliant scenes in Parc Ferme then here at the Misano World Circuit. Marco Simoncelli, Pramac Ducati, they look on. Double thumbs up then from Frankie. Yep, numero uno, P1. Absolutely brilliant that by Frankie Morbidelli. And what a final lap we said, overtaking the Maestro. Here is Joan Mir on the podium with Simon.
Joan, you didn't get what you deserved in Austria, but you proved how good you are again today. Even passing Valley, amazing. Are you happy?
I'm really happy. I give my 100% in this race. All the riders are really similar, talking about race pace. We start with the medium rear tire, so at the beginning I was a bit struggling a little bit to warm the tire, but then I start to catch up the riders that I had in front. I missed a couple of laps, honestly, because I saw that the other riders were dropping a little bit more, and I was able to maintain the pace. So really happy. Thanks to my team, because they were really well. We've not been as strong as Austria, but anyway we are on the podium. So let's keep it like this.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Absolutely phenomenal ride, and in particular a phenomenal last lap by Joan Mir. This was very late on. A mistake by Alex Rins coming into turn 16 cost him, and there was still a lot of work to do, wasn't there, for Mir to reel in Rossi for that podium, and he did it with an aggressive but hard and fair move up at turn 10. And that's payback as well in many respects, isn't it? Like Bagnaia for Jerez, that's payback for Austria as well for Joan Mir.
Some information just to bring you. Nakagami's been demoted 1 place, penalty due to exceeding track limits on the last lap. So Nakagami's now been dumped down to 9th. So Jack Miller moves up 1 place. So that's just come through now.
Still another great ride that by the Japanese rider. Yeah, if you exceed the track limits on that final lap, well, it's a demotion of 1 position if you've seemed to have gained an advantage. But that's a great ride by Nakagami, because he didn't think he had much chance of a top 10 based on Friday when Honda was a real handful over the bumps here. And very, very shortly I'm sure we'll be hearing from an ecstatic Pecco Bagnaia. What a performance by him. 5 weeks out of breaking his leg in Brno, and he's here on the podium with Simon in Parc Ferme in his home Grand Prix.
Pecco, not yet fully recovered from a serious injury, and first race back, you put it on the podium. How good does that feel?
So much. At home, the last 5 weeks was very, very difficult to be happy, but these nerves have given to me the hungry to arrive here to be competitive. My Carlo, my trainer, Marco, the physiotherapist, and Dr. Pascarella that have made the operation to me, also my family, my friends, my beautiful girlfriend, and make an incredible job with me, pushing me every day to arrive here prepared. And the only thing that I can say is that I'm very happy. Already in Jerez, I was very close to my first podium, but today we have fought a lot to achieve this goal, and I think that the taste of my first podium is very good.
Congratulations.
Like a pasta matriciana.
I think it's fair to say that Pecco Bagnaia is mighty, mighty happy, and why wouldn't he be? Putting all the frustration and disappointment of Andalusia and Brno behind him to take his first MotoGP podium in his home Grand Prix. Absolutely incredible performance. First win for Morbidelli, first podium for Pecco Bagnaia, and the VR46 Academy almost locking out the podium with the boss in 4th place. Almost fended off Mir on that last lap, but it's going to be great to hear from the first-time winner as Franco Morbidelli goes to the P1 spot. He hobbles off, doesn't he, Pecco Bagnaia? Gets congratulated, quite rightly so, by Dornacio Carmelo Spoleto. So congratulations to fantastic Franco Morbidelli, victorious for the first time in MotoGP here in Misano with Simon.
Franco, you rode incredibly today, but also you're such a gentleman. I believe this win is going to be a very popular one. How does it feel to win at home?
I don't know. It feels. I don't know how it feels. I still have to process everything. Definitely, it's a good thing. It's a good feeling. I'm very happy. I have to. I'm enjoying the moment now. The only thing I can say is thanks to my team, thanks to my people, all the people that has been working with me, and all the people that has been helping me. During the last laps, I have been thinking a lot, and I was thinking about 7 years ago, more or less, when I was here just racing the Italian Championship Super Stock, and I was winning that race, and it felt just the same, but much more. So I'm just overwhelmed at the moment. The only thing I can say is thank you to everybody.
Congratulations.
Grazie.
What a great guy, great rider, and a great victory here in Misano for Franco Morbidelli. What an eloquent, well-spoken young man he is, and this is a moment that he'll live forever.
I should just point out that the moment he's referring to, when he won the Superstock 600 European race here in Misano, he went on to win that championship that year. Just putting that out there.
Aragon 2017 was his last win. That must feel like a long, long time ago now. The sweetest of sweet moments to take that first victory after everything he's had to cope with as well over the last couple of weeks or so, with a couple of really, really horrible races in the Red Bull Ring. And congratulations from Pecco Bagnaia as well. And here comes Rossi. We thought at one stage that might well have been our top three. Wasn't quite to be though, unfortunately for Rossi, thanks to the brilliance of Joan Mir on the last lap. 4 brand new winners already in 2020, 12 different podium finishers. That is the understatement of the century. There is nothing quite like the 2020 MotoGP season. That sums this year up in one succinct tweet on the official @MotoGP account. I think all 30 million of our followers across all of our social media accounts, well, hashtag San Marino GP, hashtag Frankie Says Relax. Pretty sure that's going to be trending right now.
It's just amazing, isn't it, that after all that, we barely mentioned Dovi once throughout the entire
and he's the World
race,
Championship
and he's the
leader.
World Championship leader by 6 points.
Astonishing. Oh, I'm so glad we get to come back and do all this again in a week's time. Great day for Pramac Racing. Great day as well for Suzuki. We thought it might have been Alex Rins that was going to take the fight to Valentino Rossi. He did take the fight to Rossi for such a long time, but wasn't able to make the crucial move. And when Mir had his chance, boy, did he grasp it with both hands. So the podium celebration's about to get underway after another remarkable MotoGP race this season. Johan Stigefeld comes to the podium, representing Petronas Yamaha SRT. Very contrasting fortunes for them. It's a second podium in the last 3 races though for Joan Mir, after a truly brilliant overtake on Valentino Rossi on the very last lap of the race. Pecco Bagnaia hobbles his way to second place on the podium, and I think, as Steve mentioned, that cemented his seat in the factory Ducati team next year. Pramac Ducati 2020 will be factory Ducati 2021. Just about manages to clamber himself onto that second place. But here is an unforgettable moment for Franco Morbidelli as he comes to the top step of the podium for the first time in MotoGP, and that extra special feeling of doing it at his home circuit here in Misano. Going to take a while for that one to sink in. Here comes the constructor prize handed over then to Stigefeld, Dr. Antonella Di Pazzo. Of course, the Italian emergency services have done such an incredible job to try and cope with the COVID-19 pandemic. Third victory of the season, of course, for Petronas Yamaha SRT. Third place trophy then goes to 23-year-old Spaniard Joan Mir. Lara Rodini from Livano, the event sponsors, hands over the trophy to him. 22nd rostrum finish in his career, just a second in MotoGP, and he did it with a daring raid on Rossi on the final lap. FIM president Jorge Viejas hands over a first ever MotoGP prize to Pecco Bagnaia, the 23-year-old Italian. That is his first ever MotoGP podium, the 24th of his Grand Prix career. He's the 12th different rider to stand on the podium this season, and we've only had 6 races in 2020. And here is the magic moment for Morbidelli. Teodoro Lonfanini hands over the prize to Franco Morbidelli. He's victorious for the first time in MotoGP, his 9th win of his Grand Prix career. Magnificent Morbidelli reigns in Misano.
With his hand on his heart, how can you not love this guy? Frankie says relax, he's a MotoGP winner. We're sure it's first of many more to come. Can't wait to get the reaction after this, of course. Matt will be off to interview them a little bit later on. And we'll be bringing you after the flag as well. I'll put my teeth back in. And then, of course, we'll have some action on Tuesday as well, so join us for that. But magical moments here for Franco. Often overshadowed since he's joined the Petronas Yamaha SRT team, but not today, not by a long stretch.
And all those years ago when Valentino Rossi took a chance on this young man, moved down to this Rimini region, did need to give his all and reward the faith shown in him by Valentino Rossi, and boy has he repaid that faith here today. Special moments. Always a great feeling to take your first ever MotoGP victory, but to do it in front of your home crowd